In today's video, we're going to be coloring a moo cow in non-traditional colors. Hi, I'm Stacy. Welcome to my channel. I hope you enjoy and are inspired to create. Hey guys, as usual, we're going to go over the supplies and then we'll get into the card making. We're going to be using a stamp set from Unity Stamps called Someone Left the Gate Open. We're going to use some doily heart dies that I got from Amazon. I'll try to link what I can down below. Trinity Stamps Graham Cracker Alphabet. Those are nice because they're small. And then we have Lawn Fawn Finley's ABCs. I bring in a Waffle Flower A7 layers die because we're going to be making a 5x7 card. And then I bring in some distress inks. I didn't put those in the beginning, but we use distress oxides. We use Copics to color, and I use a soft peach ink. It's an old Hero Arts, like Memory something, but it's made by Hero Arts. You can use whatever dye ink color you want. So as long as if you're using alcohol markers like I am, make sure that it's alcohol marker friendly. And just go with a very light color. So I've used yellow, I use this peach. I know that Ink on 3 has a no line ink. You can use, really any ink. Try what you have, because I wasn't going to go out and buy any more inks. I just saw what I had in my stash for no line coloring. So that's what we're going to be doing, but we're going to be coloring this moo cow in non-traditional colors. So we're going to be making it pink. A strawberry moo cow, if you will. So what I'm doing, these are very light pinks. They're in the R family for Copics. And I'm going in and I'm adding in my darkest shading. Now, one of the things when you do no line coloring is you really have to turn your project because you want to be able to see where those lines are at and where the tip of your marker is so that you can lay down your ink in those areas. When you don't have that bold black outline, like the lines laid down, there's no room for error in the sense that that black line gives you. Now you can go and fudge things and correct errors, or it can be forgiving in that sense for no line coloring because you create your own. And you don't have to put shading where they say, or if you want to change something about it, you can color right over it. I have one coming out where I did a no line with the Jack and Ginger from Penny Black, which I already did one with that, but I colored that scene up again a little bit differently as a no line. And I made him have hair. He wasn't balding. So those are some of the freedoms that you get with no line coloring. But I am going in with my darkest marker and I am mapping out those shadows because they're going to disappear. As soon as you start laying ink over it, if you're using the right ink, it's going to disappear, those lines. That's the point. It's supposed to make it look like you did it all. And then I'm going to go in and I laid the dark shadows down. Then I'm going with my midtones and extending those shadows out. And then I'm taking my lightest marker and I'm going over the entirety of the image, except for the eyes where I wanted it to stay white. I thought this cow image was so funny. I have a local friend here. Hi, Lena, if you're watching. She got this for me. She gave it to me last Christmas, not this Christmas, but the one prior. Oh, I love it. I don't know why I haven't used it yet. And then I'm taking my marker. I believe this is the lightest one. Yeah, it's an RO1. And there are little hairs everywhere. So I'm laying it down because I'm going to come back in with a colored pencil that will add a little more definition. But those hairs, I want to still appear like it's a pink cow, even though I'm going to be coming in later with a brown pencil. And for the teeth, I used E50 and E53, which E50 is very light. And I just thought that it could use, with the brown pencils coming in, that the teeth needed color. And so I don't want them to make them look yellow. I want them to make it look like it's shaded. So I'm laying down that darkest marker, that E53, I laid it down on all the lines. And now I'm going in with the E50 and I'm just going right over it. So one, it's going to blend those two together, but it's also going to lighten that E53, the other marker, just a tiny bit. And so it's going to look like those teeth have depth. So in each one of those lines, because that's a little bit darker right in the center, and then it gets a little bit lighter to white from each line, it's going to appear like their actual teeth. And that's what you're seeing me do. Go back over each line with that E50 so that it blends. And one of the things I wish I would have done on this card was put an outline around the cow, like a drop shadow. And I'm gonna add the shading to the white of the eyes too, so that it appears as shading on the teeth and not yellow teeth, if that makes sense. And then in the corners of the mouth, because that would probably be the darkest, I did just kind of color that in. I didn't get real detailed or leave any white space. But that's why I'm going in and shading a little bit of the whites of the eyes with it, so that it appears that it's white instead of yellow teeth. Even though cows kind of do have yellow teeth. Same thing, my darkest, and then I'm going in with my lightest, the E53 first, and then the E50 next. And then I'm just going back in. I noticed there's a little bit of a spot where the ink didn't completely deposit, like there was a little spot. And then I'm going in, and here's where I'm going to go over some of the hairs that I didn't. I believe I did on the top of the head. And this is where you can go in and extend your shadow. So let's say because you don't have that dark outline there, the dark line, you can go in and smooth it out. And when I come in with pencils, that's going to help to add more depth, more definition to the edges. Now, I think that the coloring on just with the markers is fantastic. It's a much softer look. But here's where you come in with all those fine details. So I have a light brown, and then I have a darker brown that I'm going to bring in. I'm going to bring in a black pencil as well. So this is the lightest brown that I'm using, and I can look at the color. They're Prismacolor Premieres, guys, and I believe that's chocolate. I know it's chocolate. It's PC 1082. The next brown I bring in is, I don't even think, it's sepia, and it's PC 948, and then I bring in the black Prismacolor pencil. And you can use any pencils you have. So if you have Faber-Castells, the Polychromos, use those. If you have another form of pencils, use it. Even Crayolas, whatever you have. You can go in with a graphite pencil and add shading. And then if you want to use a blending step, you can kind of smudge it out so that it blends out a bit. But this is what I like to use, either the Prismacolor Premieres or the Faber-Castell Polychromos. And I really like to use those Faber-Castell Polychromos when I'm blending it with Gamsol, because they have oil as a binder instead of wax, so they're oil-based, and it does, even though the Gamsol breaks it down, for some reason the Polychromos seem to blend differently. So just try what you have. And then I'm just going in, I'm darkening up those nostrils. Like, I wasn't quite sure how dark I wanted to go with that. If I wanted to add a lot more color, darken it up a lot, leave it a little bit lighter. Wasn't quite sure. So that's what's kind of nice about coming back in with colored pencils, is because depending on the pressure that you put on the pencil, and I didn't put much pressure on any of the shading. It's very light touch. And the colors that you use, and they layer so that you can just keep going back in and layering. With markers, they're not as forgiving. With markers, you have to think in advance. Where do you want your shading? Where do you want your highlights? You can always go back in and add more shading, but you can't create more highlights. So you really have to think about it with markers, where colored pencils give you a little bit more freedom. So I've really been enjoying what I am calling storybook coloring with these no-line colorings. Wait till you see my February design team projects for the Not Too Shabby shop. Oh my gosh, you guys. The box of the month next month, and I can't tell you what it is. There's a lot of people that will probably really want it, and I am so excited. And I did make a few cards already, and most of them are the storybook style. And I'm hoping you guys enjoy it. I hope you enjoy seeing the different content. Please bear with me while I transition from just making content for myself to making content for a design team. It's all new to me. There's new software, what you have to communicate, with the format that has to be used. It's a learning curve, and it's been taking a lot of my time. Like, I kid you not. Last month, I probably spent 40 hours or more working on it, because I had to not only learn the program, I had to make sure things were formatted right. It was just a lot. And I actually broke down and cried a few times and was telling my husband I was frustrated. And this month, because I learned it, that was half the battle, was learning all this new stuff. So I should be able to put out more regular content. I've got like 8 videos that I have to do voiceovers for. And it's a little tough sometimes to do voiceovers, because especially back to back, I feel like I am saying the same thing, like a broken record, over and over and over. So, and when you're recording back to back, it's, even though you guys will be seeing it at different times, it's like, am I saying the same thing? Which a lot of it is. I mean, it really is. Like, we're coloring, we're going in and adding shading, and I always tell you guys too in my videos that I know not everyone who watches my channel colors, but I hope you can enjoy seeing the process. I hope that it entertains you for a bit, and I really hope that it inspires you to create. Even if you don't have the same products I do, even if you don't like to color, maybe you're like, hey, I like that layout, or maybe I want to try something similar. Whatever the case may be, I think it's just important to create. I think for a lot of us, a form of therapy. So here's where I bring in the distress oxides, and I believe I have Tattered Rose. I'm trying to look at my screen right here. I know one's Worn Lipstick, and I forget what the other one is. The Taffy, Saltwater Taffy, I think. I think that's what those are. And my husband got me these blending sponges and tools from Amazon, and they're domed, and I like that they're domed, and I don't know if it's because it's the first time I'm using them, but that foam is hard. It's not like the flat foams from Ranger, and I don't know if they're all the domed ones are like that, or if it's just the Amazon thing. I got them to work, but they felt weird, and they're dry, so there's no ink deposited. Anytime I blend with foams, or my other foams that I use for Distress Oxide, they're already saturated with ink, so it always goes on smoother. But just keep working it back and forth. Distress Oxide is so forgiving compared to Distress ink or any other inks. Because they're a pigment dye hybrid, they really blend together. That's what they're made to do. That's what Distress inks do. But they stay wet and sit on the paper a bit, and so it makes it a lot easier to blend. They're more opaque. So just keep working them back and forth. Like, I started with the darkest, and then I went to the bottom, went to the lightest, and then I worked the mid-tone in between those two. And sometimes that circular motion doesn't work when you're making the blend, like to finish it. So just go back and forth. And I can tell you that anybody's videos you watch, those blends always look better than they do on camera. In person, they look better. So take that with a grain of salt, because I really hit the floor one time when I first saw it on video, and I was like, that's not what it looks like in person. Not everything looks the same on camera. So I'm bringing in a center ruler here to line up these alpha dies. I cut them out of some white cardstock because I thought that would play well with the white doily heart. And then that'll help me center it up. So if you saw that, I'd actually put glue on the M first, but then I decided I should put that O down first and center it, and then my other 2 letters will go on either side evenly. And then I'll go in and do the same thing when I lay down the second part of the sentiment. So it says, Moo, you doing? You know who that is? Joey from Friends. How you doing? Moo, you doing? I hopefully spliced this together okay, because I don't know what happened when I was recording the voiceover the first time, but somehow my mic disconnected. I don't know if I hit a button. I don't know what happened. So I had to come back in and redo the end here because it sounded like I was in a tunnel. Well, here I am. I'm going to add a second layer of those die cut letters over the Moo so that so that they have a little more dimension. Hey, do this after you cut out this because it smashed everything anyway. So I'm just lining up that die and going to run it through the machine. But make sure you do it prior to adding your letters because it just flattened them anyway. And I just wasn't going to do the letters over again because they are finicky. But when I laid the you doing down, that second part of the sentiment, I started with the Y and the question mark on each end because I had spaced them out, glued those first, and then worked to the center. That way they were evenly spaced and were centered on the card itself. I'm going to pop this heart up with some foam tape. You don't have to use as much foam tape as I do, but as you guys know, I'm extra. That's what makes me special. Sorry. I don't know what all I talked about because I have to redo the end of this, but I think I talked about the design team and being overwhelmed with that, and I think I've got most of the stuff that was taking my time figured out so that it lays down, so that I have more time. Sorry, my husband was laughing in the background. It's so weird recording voiceovers in front of him. These are some enamel dots that I got from Joann's. Just use what's in your stash. And I have one on I believe I leave it on the doily portion, then off, and then one overlapping the sentiment. That way it has some, continuity from one section of the card to the next. And then, as always, I got to add some Spectrum Noir. It would not be a Stacey Graves card if it didn't have Spectrum Noir and glossy accents. Because, again, I'm extra. That's just in a precision fine tip bottle there. And then I'm going to put it all over the teeth so it has a sparkly smile and sparkly eyes and that they're shiny. And the glossy accents makes that Spectrum Noir pop. You can see it in all light that way. If you just do the Spectrum Noir, you can't always see it in every light. You can see it under your desk lamps or your studio lights or out in the sunlight, but not always in other lighting. But that glass accents helps. So here's the finished card. Moo, you doing? Do you like it? I love it. It's a strawberry cow. Thanks for spending some time with me, guys. See you next time. Bye.